So my name is Geoff Roberts. I'm from Oracle Primavera. Work in the industry strategy section within that organisation. And here today to really talk about how our latest release and the latest releases of our software further support project-centric organisations. So it's about really the vision that we're trying to paint, the way we're trying to move our software into that environment, and how it supports different elements and different parts of the organisation. So for those of you that have been on the journey with us up to now, we started as very much a desktop application, even in the DOS days. We've now moved really into this enterprise project and portfolio management space, and we're firmly there. It's really now about bringing organisations with us into that environment. As always, as part of Oracle, we don't get beyond this, I'm afraid. You know, we are a listed organisation, so everything I say is the truth, but. So, we are the leading project portfolio management organisation in the world. And we don't just say that. The analysts actually out there. So Gartner, you know, in terms of market share, we are the biggest in terms of project portfolio management software delivered into project-centric organisations. Not only the leader, but in many different categories as well. So we don't just focus on construction. For those of you that think of our old solutions, we're very much a construction-centric type application. We're now very much a project-centric application. So it's about the delivery of portfolios, programs, and projects. That's what we focus on. So we cover from IT right the way through construction, oil and gas, and anything in between. Really what we're about supporting organisations and how they manage and protect. It's about supporting organisations delivering projects. Okay, so you could deliver a project without project management software. There's many reams of quotes out there on why you wouldn't want to do that. So to us, it's about supporting project organisations in the delivery of projects. Obviously, there's three. It's the typical triangle: tools, people, process. We're that tools component that supports organisations in delivery. So what do we have to offer you now in our latest releases? For those of you, again, that have been on the journey, P6 really is our core product. That's our project management offering. That's where we do project management. It's where planning and scheduling takes place. But it's more than that now. It's very much about team collaboration. It's about involving the whole of the project team. It's enabling resource capability. So it's about effort, capturing and statusing effort. It's understanding who's doing what. And there's also an element of operational portfolio management. Which projects that are currently live, where are they, how are they doing? And it's about capturing all of the KPIs and metrics around those particular projects. But as you see, we're wider than that. We have our portfolio management tool, which is a true strategic portfolio management offering. That's about capturing initiatives. It's about ranking and scoring initiatives. It's about the typical funnel approach to delivery. Obviously, the advantage with all of this being in one environment is that the output from those funding opportunities can immediately flow into P6 and therefore be managed. So again, different tools for different uses. On the far side, we have our contract management offering. That's the ability to manage change. It's the ability to manage all of those administrative functions you have opposite contractors. And again, our tools used to be very construction-centric. They're being made less and less construction-centric and more project-centric, so that projects, irrespective of what they're delivering, can deploy this range of software. We have a risk analysis tool. You see we've included an element of risk now in our P6, and we'll talk about that later on. But obviously for the more complex Monte Carlo simulation, we still have a very detailed niche application that fits in that space. And then for those of you that are really dealing with hardcore government departments or more in the A&D space where earned value, true anti-standard earned value is needed, we have an earned value compliance application. Those really were the applications that Primavera brought to the table 3 years this month to Oracle. Since then, there's been a huge investment. They're very different tools than we turned up to the table with 3 years ago. As you'd expect, you know, Oracle have the R&D effort. They have the strategic thinking. They also have a whole bag of other applications that we have now gone out and cherry-picked some of them and wrapped them as part of our overall strategy in terms of Oracle Primavera, in terms of its footprint. So we understand that projects, you know, they need things like workflow. You know, all projects, there's standard processes. If you can turn those standard processes into automated or electronic processes, that would help a project. So Oracle had a high-powered workflow engine that they sell in the market space. So what we've enabled our tools to do is actually utilize BPM, in essence, for free. Providing you're working in the project space, you can actually utilize the workflow capacity from BPM. We know that all of our tools have inbuilt graphics and reports, but they may actually not deliver exactly what you care to want delivering in terms of external reporting, stakeholder reporting, be it PDF, Excel, CSV, web, whatever. Oracle just happened to have a BI platform that we've created an analytics plug-and-play adapter to. So in essence, we can now expose all of the P6 data to the BI layer. Again, very powerful for ad hoc reporting, drill-down reporting. So it's got star schemas, it's got a drill-through capability, to the point where you could actually drill through from the BI layer into the application if you wanted to keep drilling down to find out what was actually the issue within a specific project. So that's at the highest level. At the lowest level, you know, we've obviously created integration, standard out-of-the-box integration with, as you'd expect, our Oracle brethren in terms of ERP. So EBS, JD Edwards. But understanding that we are still a very agnostic solution overall, we can sit as an EPPM solution set in any environment. We have integration to SAP. We have an out-of-the-box integration to SAP. We also have things like UCM. UCM is Oracle's content management offering. Again, we offer that as a restricted use license within the P6 and contract management space, understanding that projects, one of the key parts of a project is a set of documents. So if an organization doesn't have a document management system, we're saying, use the one we have. You know, it's a fully compliant document management system. It's out there, it competes with the Documentums, etc. of this world. So we're saying, provided you don't use it, provided you do use it within the confines of projects and not your whole business, go ahead and use it. And then things like AutoView is a visualization tool. And we've enabled our products to work with these tools. So basically what we're doing is we're roaming around the Oracle apps catalog, of which there's, you know, in excess of 2,000, understanding which are the right apps that would benefit project-centric organizations, and therefore making them either restricted use or enabling them to be used with our software suite. So this now paints a much more powerful view, instead of just a planning scheduling tool, where our background came from. We're now basically a project and portfolio management at the enterprise offering, supporting a range of the project team, from project managers to resource managers to engineers to leads to supervisors, right down to the individual doing the task. We can support them. And one of our key visions has always been, as we've moved into this EPPM space, we need to think about both ends of the spectrum. So, we've always, if you like, had a good following in the advanced planning and scheduling arena. You know, there's lots of quotes out there about how we only use Primavera for complex projects. That doesn't need to be the case anymore. We have built a product now which meets any type of project within any type or element within your organization. So we can work with capital construction, very complex projects. We can work with IT, less complex, more resource, right the way through to simple marketing plans and marketing schedules. It's about capturing all of your projects in one tool, and that tool being capable of being worked in a very complex way or a very simple way, depending on how the different teams are actually working within that tool set. Obviously, to do that, we've had to do a lot around enabling different capabilities. There's a lot more, it's very much web-based, but there's a lot more Excel look and feel to areas within the tool, understanding that Excel is one of those key project management tools across the world, whether you like it or not. So, very much, it's about capturing all projects. If you capture all projects, you know exactly where you're going in terms of project delivery across an overall organization. Another thing we brought to the table as being part of Oracle, here's our footprint, the Oracle Primavera. As we spoke about in terms of applications, Oracle have, in excess of 2,000 other applications. But what we've done is we've enabled our product set on the Oracle Red Stack. So what does that mean? Basically means that we can deploy the Oracle Primavera solution on top of Oracle storage systems, Oracle servers, Oracle databases. We already include the middleware in terms of WebLogic as a restricted use capability. And then our application layer sits on the top there. So in essence, we can give you a soup to nuts whole solution from Oracle for EPPM. Why is that a benefit? The benefit is really about, obviously, optimization. Because we can optimize all of our applications to work with the middleware layer. The middleware layer can be optimized to work with the database layer. The databases can be optimized to work effectively on the Oracle server platforms. So it's about speed. It's about optimization. It's about the way forward. It's about a total offering. It's not about just an application. So what have we brought that's new to the table in the last 12 months? We're now a totally web-based solution. Okay? We still, for those of the people that are around there that still need it, we still have the client capability. So for your 100% full-time scheduler, he is unlikely to use this on his day-to-day business. He will still use the client component. It's not going away. People are trying to put that out in the market space. That piece is not going away. Okay? It's there. We're actually starting to invest more in the client, as you will see. Why web? Well, we wanted something that, again, could cover from basic to advanced. In a lot of industries, they want to, and their only way of delivering applications is as a web application. So we needed an application that could be delivered, could be administered could be supported by complementary solutions. And again, all of those complementary solutions are web-based applications from Oracle. It needed to be easy and intuitive. So we've gone for simple dashboards. Everything is role-based. If I'm a PM, I get one set of views into my set of windows. If I'm a team member and I'm only focusing on X, I see a completely different view on life. And we can take that right down to the lowest level of PPM maturity, where we literally have something that looks like an Excel spreadsheet. Set of dates, maybe progress. Has this activity started or not? Something as simple as that. So really from absolute basic Excel look and feel to complex relational activity, full network diagrams, etc. All in one tool. All turned on and off as we develop these role-based views into the application. We've made it much more resource-centric. So now we enable resource managers to be able to view their teams, understand in simple resource Gantt what those team members are actually doing, what activities, what projects they're working on, understanding that we are a enterprise project portfolio management tool. So if you put all of your projects in one space, this is the type of analysis you can get out of that tool with an immediacy. So it's not like having to bolt together a bunch of things to get an output. This is immediate. So we have our resource-centric Gantt charts. We have the ability to view that in terms of spreadsheet capability, even build it in terms of a spreadsheet capability. So again, much more focus around resources in the latest releases. This is what we've done in terms of risk. So why we've done it? Projects, one of the key component of a project is risk. It's about the management of that risk. We had a very good solution in Primavera risk analysis. One of the elements of that was the risk log capability. Obviously, there's the other component around complex Monte Carlo simulation. But it was very much understood, appreciated, liked the risk logging component of PRA. So what we did, because obviously we own the code base, we extracted that and put it into P6. Why did we do that? Because now PRA is a very niche product, it sits very much more with the risk people. Here we have now risks in everybody's face on a day-to-day basis. Okay, it's in the core application. So if I'm a project manager, I can see all my risks. If I'm a team member, I can see the risks, but I can also add risks. I can score those risks. We can have standard scoring matrix depending on the types of projects that you're actually delivering. So you may have a different scoring matrix for an IT project as against a capital project. We've actually now encapsulated that within P6. We've also done it because obviously we're now an enterprise project portfolio management tool. It's important that we're able to understand what are our overall risks on our portfolio, which are the highest ranked or lowest ranked risks across our portfolio. Which risks do we need to focus on? Again, because it's now in P6, we can actually deliver that information. And obviously these risks can be appended and attached to one or many activities. Not only that, we can capture things like cause, effect, any sort of information around that particular mitigation plans, any information around that particular risk. It can also be used for opportunities as well. So not only are you capturing your threats, but you're capturing your opportunities all in the same space. So key to moving forward is actually bringing this into our latest release, again for that visibility understanding that risk is a key component of delivering projects. Obviously, output is everything around projects. Okay, it's fine capturing information, but if you can't then translate that and turn that into output that's meaningful to different stakeholders, then there's little point in that project management offering. So we've now, with the help of Oracle or Oracle friends, we've utilised their BI reporting capability, which is a very powerful reporting product that we've now encapsulated within P6 and contract management. What that allows, it allows parameter-based driven reports to be created and then run. And those reports can be graphs, very much pixel perfect type tabular reports. You know, if we look at that project status report, that's just a view on a status report, just to give you a flavour of it's capturing the information from all different components of the software. That's something we could never have done in our days prior to acquisition. But here we're actually creating a pixel perfect report that can be delivered to a printer in PDF form, in any other format. It can be scheduled, so you can run a scheduling engine against this, so it can be delivered on a Friday night at the end of every month to whoever, a group of stakeholders, and different report sets can go to different groups of people. And this is all around operational reports. We also have the ability with that BI layer to actually deliver what we call P6 analytics. So this is this plug and play capability on a BI platform. What that does, it enables stakeholders, senior managers to actually have a level of drill through capability, starting from the highest level and drilling down through areas. It's about capturing dashboards around key metrics. Maybe things like float erosion, date slippage, variances, costs, resource, whatever, resource utilization, earned value graphics, comparing one or many curves against one another, multiple baselines, actual, forecast, whatever. These are things that are very easy to depict within a BI solution. And we've enabled about 80 standards within this tool. Plus we give you, if you like, the whole BI answers component, which enables you to do any ad hoc reporting you wish, both in terms of tabular, graphical, etc., all with a drill through capability. So those are some of the typical examples there. If you then broaden that BI layer, because BI can talk to any number of other databases, so we've already exposed the P6 data there, you can then talk to anything else, be it ERP, MRD, whatever other tools you wish, or databases, even simple things like Excel spreadsheets. You can actually create the join at the BI layer. So instead of doing very complex database to database integration, you can really pull the data and join it at a business intelligence layer. And these are some of the reports that we've seen out there that are being utilized. We've talked a bit about Business Process Manager. So Business Process Manager is it's a workflow engine, a graphical workflow solution. It's a three-tiered solution. So very much it's about an end user, it's about a business analyst, and it's about an IT component. So a business analyst, we've given them the perfect tool for developing that workflow. What does it look like? Who passes what information to where? What is that information? Is it a form? Is it a go get a piece of information from another system? Understanding that BPM, Oracle's BPM, can go across solutions and across systems. So it's not specific to Oracle. It could go and get a piece of data out of SAP. It could go and get a piece of data out of the Documentum. if it knew where it was going to get that. And then it could move it through a particular process. So it's got branching, it's got escalation, it's got all of those things you'd expect in a, you know, a fully commercial workflow solution. So it's got a business analyst layer. Obviously, that can be immediately translated, that exact same picture, to the IT group, who can then stitch it up in terms of web services. So the IT function can then understand what web services go and get pieces of information, or what forms it needs to create. And then there's the end user layer. And what we've done with the end user layer, we've exposed that portal from BPM in this corner here. So we've exposed that portal from BPM in P6. So if I'm an end user, I don't have to go into another solution. I can see and enact workflows from within my project management solution. So I could kick off a workflow in terms of a form-based workflow. There's also the capability within P6 of event-driven. So here we have some typical forms. So again, this is just something simple. 5 stages, project initiation. So basically, you're not even in P6 here. This is about another way of interacting with data. So it's about, I'm thinking about this project, and you can actually fill in some standard fields and push it on through a process. As it moves through that process, additional items will be added and some will be grayed out as they're passed and approved as they move through that chain. The final outcome is obviously about a project being developed and delivered into P6. And that may actually use a template to finally come up with the final destination. But all that's doing is delivering the metadata wrapper around that particular project. And you'll see there's a number of processes that people have already started to use. So, about adding a new activity. So, you know, in the oil and gas space, we have a lot of asset owners that need new activities adding to a maintenance plan. This enables a level of governance. So they don't just throw in an activity. It passes through a process. New milestones in the same way. You know, requesting a resource. A lot more governance around the resource request within the tool. And then obviously about risk assessment. So those are just some of the ideas that we've seen people immediately jump on the bandwagon and start to utilize this capability. Because, you know, all organizations have process maps, even if they're just in Excel or Visio. This is about translating those now into an electronic tool. And as I said before, it doesn't have to be just forms driven. It can be very much event driven. So for instance, things like a milestone being set to 100% complete can trigger in the background a complete workflow. So we've seen this used in stage gate management. So prior to a stage gate, it's important that everybody is shared this correct document pack so that the approval can be made by an executive board about moving to the next level. Here, if we have that pre-stage milestone, if somebody sets that a planner to 100%, it can immediately send a workflow with a full document pack to each one of those stakeholders. It could even take away the need to even sit down in a room and have a meeting, because you can even put voting buttons in emails. I approve, I don't approve. So we can take this to any level you want. But both forms and event-driven are enabled within our software. As I said up front, for those of you that have known our software for a long time, you know, the rumours going around are we're dropping the Windows client. We're not. We've actually invested in it now for the first time for a number of years. So we brought back our timescale logic diagram. Now, for the detailed planner scheduler, that's a wonderful document. It may not be for every man within your project team, but for that individual who wants to assess a very hefty set of activities in a very limited space, timescale logic diagram, fantastic. We've done some customized toolbars. So that's been a request forever within the Windows client. Line numbering, so you can actually talk about the same line in a schedule instead of an activity ID, which is very difficult to follow. And then we've done split screen. So you can have an activity view and a project view or WBS view in the same window. Again, just helping the pure usability functions that have been requested for a long time. We're now putting those into the Windows client. One of the key things we've done recently is, for those of you who've used multiple versions of our software, P6, contract management, portfolio management, they all look totally different. They look like we came from 3 different areas. In essence, we did. Way back yonder, they were 3 totally independent products. As Primavera, we never had the R&D budget to actually make them look and feel the same. Obviously, with Oracle, we now have a whole suite of products that look the same. They have the same type of icons. It matches with Oracle EBS. So in essence, we look and feel like part of the Oracle family now. It took us time, but we've got there. Some of the brand new stuff we brought out is around that individual that's out there doing his day-to-day job. What information does he need? So we've developed a iPhone app. Okay, simple team member app. Basically just goes and gets what his assignments are for that particular period of time. He stays what period of time. Day, week, whatever it may be. And then it's very simple. Very graphical. He can open that up, he can status it. He can update the steps. He can take pictures and email them back into the P6 database. He can send emails to the PM. So it's very much a two-way type tool, but it's about capturing status remotely. Why did we do it on the iPhone? It was the easiest OS at that point in time. We also developed an email app for those that have to use or are using BlackBerry or other OSs. Works in the same way. So in essence, what you do is you send an email to the P6 server. So basically, the subject line says something like Geoff Roberts, 2-week look ahead. And basically, you send that into the P6 database and it immediately sends you back your list of activities. Remember, it's a multi-project system. So it sends by project the activities you have to do. You can then open those activities up in your email, update them, and literally send them back to their email address. Obviously, there's idiots out there. We all know that, Geoff being one, and he puts any sort of rubbish in there. It's 100% complete, hasn't even started. You as the project manager know it hasn't started. So obviously you want some sort of holding environment so it doesn't immediately hit the database. The worst thing you'd have is all your activities moving because you've got idiots out in the field that really don't know what they're doing. So there's a holding area where planner, scheduler, project manager, whoever can validate that information that's coming in from the field before it is actually pushed through into the database. Obviously, with it being email, it also gives you an offline capability as well. So you can do this in your hotel room whenever at night. Those analytics we were talking about for your stakeholders, project managers, program managers, etc., we're now exposing those again to the iPhone, iPad community. Okay? You see a lot of people, this certainly turns on the certain level of individuals within an organization. But it's very neat. They can have that. Again, can be just driven from a computer. But again, what it gives you is that drill down capability. This is nice. Obviously, UPK is a tool. It's an e-learning tool that Oracle have had for a long time. It's deployed with all of their ERP systems. What it actually does, and we've enabled that with P6, it enables you to capture, screen by screen, a process of doing things. So it's about, how do I create a project? How do I update a project? What's good about or clever about our software is we've embedded some samples in the help screen. But not only that, if you actually acquire UPK, you can actually build your whole process and your whole help in those tools and then hang them from the P6 and Contract Manager help. So they don't have to go outside of our tool to find help. So it could be a screen with how to update a project. It's got a bubble. It can have a hyperlink to an external process. It can have the benefits of why you'd want the individuals to fill in this cell. Whatever you want it to do, it can do it. And it has that, try it, do it, and then actually there can be a final one, which is, if you like, an exam type level, whereas if you don't pass it, they actually don't allow you to go into the software to carry on your day-to-day job. So you can take it to any level. But very beneficial that you can literally hang these UPK files now within the help, which is going to be huge. We talked up front about auto view. So enabling auto view is an Oracle viewing tool. All that does, it means that I don't need all of the native applications on my desktop. So auto view understands and can read up to 350 different file formats. So I can look at CAD drawings, I can look at whatever, I can even look at layers on CAD drawings, I can red line, I can do anything. All from within P6, so I can open up a document straight into auto view. And the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is spatial. So, again, we talked right up front about different people having different accesses to the data. We see this as very powerful. In effect, you've got a map of something, maybe the UK, whatever it is. And within that map, you've actually identified where those specific projects are. If I'm a senior manager stakeholder, I may actually not know there's a project happening at that particular location. But I could drill down, or I could draw a circle around an area on a map and say, show me everything that's happening in this particular zone. And then when it exposes that, I can see key metrics about, maybe there's an icon that's showing a project as red, where the others are green. So it enables me immediately to start visualizing where the projects are going wrong in my space. So we see this as a very simple way of, if you like, non-Gantt, non-schedule, if you like, non-project people actually interacting with project data in a much easier, simple to use interface. And the very final one is more a strategic shift in Oracle's thinking. So whereas before ERP was everything, and ERP was basically modules within on a common platform, very much now the vision of Oracle is ERP is one of those modules, and there is an enterprise infrastructure platform that's actually bringing best-of-breed applications together, with the right information passing to and from those layers. And you'll see that we feature in one of those areas. And that's very much the vision now that's being pushed out from an Oracle executive management level. So I hope that was useful. I'm here for the rest of the day. Please feel free to talk to me at any time. Thank you very much.